Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we are back in the amazing Simworks Studio PC-12 for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we are taking it from San Juan down to Princess Juliana, a flight that I absolutely love to do with this particular aircraft. I don't know what it is that's so appealing about it, but I just have a good time with it being in this particular region with this plane. So today, you guys, we are going to have a wonderful flight. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides from Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below. All right, for those of you guys who may not have ever actually seen one of my guides, here's what one of them looks like. This is again for the PC-12. These guides are available, as you guys saw in the intro, on my Patreon site for levels tier 2 and above. $10 a month, you guys, or more gives you access to all of my guides. It's not just for one guide. You get access to all of them the moment you subscribe. And so here's what they sort of look like. Here is obviously the PC-12 doesn't have near as many pages as some of the other ones, like the A320 or the 737 or even the 747, 787. Anyway, you guys catch the gist. But here's what they look like. They have absolutely all of the information you need to replicate the flight that is in the guide. Everything is included. You should not need to go external for absolutely anything. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, please consider, as I stated earlier in the intro, joining me on Patreon. It really makes a difference. All right, let's start by getting the aircraft fueled and loaded. So first thing we're going to do is come here and we're going to set us down to 1023, and we are looking for 2086. That's what it is. All right, so we got fuel and payload ready to go. Let me actually get back to the top of my guide so we can get through the pre-flight. There we go. And let's do this and let's begin. So first thing we're going to do is clear that window shade. Oop. Put the sunshades back. You can click up at the top of the arm there and it swings them all the way back automatically. And let's start going through the checklist. Gear handle is down. All circuit breakers are in. Failures are not currently modeled. They will be an add-on package later on for those who are interested. The really cool thing about the way they've done that is that for those who aren't interested in failures, the aircraft is a cheaper price. For those who are, they are coming. So make sure that you guys are watching those checklists if that is something that's interest to you. All right, so with the circuit breakers all verified, we're going to go upstairs, verify that batteries are off, external power is off, and the non-essential override bus is set to the auto position. Now moving on, we're going to flip the standby bus switch on, make sure nav lights are on. Nav lights actually should always be on. When the aircraft is actually shut down, the previous pilot will usually just leave them on and shut the batteries down. So let's see here. We are going to now turn on all of our external lights. We're going to switch the non-essential bus switch to the override position. At this point, you would walk around, verify that all lights are working, and we're going to go ahead and flip that back off. And actually, I did get a little ahead of myself there, and I do apologize, you guys. We're going to flip that standby bus switch off. Battery 1, battery 2. Verify that you have 24 volts or more on the battery charge. Then you would do the non-essential bus ride to the auto position or to the override position. We're actually going to flip that back to auto. Then you would flip all your lights on, do your exterior check, turn everything but the nav lights off. Whew. Okay, let's keep on going. Yes, I am talking very fast. I do that on purpose with these kind of videos because everyone yells at me when I don't, or they yell at me when I do. So if you guys are interested in it and I'm taking too long, again, the guide is available. So let's go do our fire test now. We're going to press the fire test switch, come down to the warning system, make sure engine fire and fire detect are illuminated, come back upstairs, release the fire test switch, go to the lamp test. Anything with a light bulb in it should be illuminated. Make sure it looks like Christmas in here. Yay, Christmas lights everywhere. Okay, and lamp test now goes to the off position. We will now test the boost pumps. Now you should be able to hear each one individually, so here we go. Perfect. And if you guys could not hear that, I promise you can in your own sim as long as the volume is up high enough. Ignition. What we're going to do, the easiest way to determine the ignition switch, you guys, is, well, I'll show you both. We're going to turn it to on. You can come down here. Now, this little vent window here actually isn't a vent window. It's for emergency uses only. By the way, always clear master caution, master warning whenever you see them illuminated, because if another warning or caution comes up, you won't be alerted. Anyway, back to the vent window. It's actually an emergency window. It's only used in emergency cases. I have heard from a real-world pilot of the PC-12 that this aircraft, or this window, I guess, is an extreme pain in the you-know-what to put back in by the ground crew, and has to be done by the ground crew. But for simulation purposes, we can open it. You can kind of hear it, but not really. If you go outside, you can hear it clear as day now. There's the ignition tick that you should be able to hear. So go back inside, come back upstairs, ignition back to the auto position. All right, now stepping down to the forward panel here, we want to make sure that the EIS test is ran, so that's engine instrument system. All the gauges should peak, all fields should be filled in, no missing characters or digits or pixels. And when you see this flip to a single 0, you're good to go. There. And once that is complete, you're going to come down to a fuel reset. Takes about 5 seconds for this to complete. And there is your fuel quantity, which is what we would expect to see here. All right, so rechecking. Fire test complete. Fire detection lights were all on. Fire system was turned off. Lamp test is complete. Boost pumps were checked. Boost pumps were returned to auto. Ignition was set to on and verified. Ignition was returned to auto. EIS test was done. Fuel quantity check was reset and fuel quantity verified. We're now going to go to the oxygen pressure system. Flip that arm up. Make sure that your oxygen pressure is good for the flight. And then we're going to set our passenger oxygen to the auto position by turning that to the center position. All right, coming back down here. Let's see where we're at here. Now we're going to go upstairs, and both batteries should now go to the off position. There we go. Stepping downstairs, FS should be in the norm mode or norm position. EPS test, we're going to switch this down to the test position. Make sure the light illuminates, then go back to off. The AHARS, or attitude heading and reference system, 1 and 2 should both be set to slave. And the EPS we already did. Cabin pressure should be in the auto position and guarded. Trim and flaps interrupt switches should be in the norm position and guarded, and oxygen can come on. And yes, it really does make that sound in real life. All right, so now this is a good time to enter in our flight plan. So the easiest way to do that is we're going to come upstairs one more time. We're going to go back to the standby bus, flip that on, and that should automatically bring our Nav1 system to life. So once that comes to life, we'll go ahead and continue onward with the flight planning. All right, so let's get rolling. As I said, all of our flight plan information is in the guide, so no need to worry about anything else. Click back in the sim. And that is... Oh, you know what? I think I'm on the wrong profile inside of SPAD. Bear with me just a minute, lads. Savvy? There we go. All right, and we are using the flight sim builder GNS 530 to control our 530 today. Absolutely wonderful piece of equipment. I love this thing. All right, so let us begin. We are first going to go into our flight plan menu. Select our first line here. And we are going for TJIG, India Gulf. There's H-I and G. There it is. Enter. And then our destination today is TNCM. So move over one. TN. Oops. Charlie. And Mike. Princess Julia. Now, to enter in everything above that, we're going to go back to the line above it, as all waypoints will be pushed down. Highlighted waypoints will be pushed down. So we are now going direct to Sierra, Juliet, Uniform. Oh, the nav system aligned. I hate it when it does that. That's what I get for moving too fast. So like I said, what happened there is that the navigation system finished aligning, and when it does that, it resets everything. All right, so Sierra, what did I say? Juliet Uniform. Come on. There you are. I always get nervous. I'm going to spin too fast. All right, and that is in Puerto Rico. And we're going to stay on TNCM here, and we're now going to go to... The next is an airway, but unfortunately the GNS 530 and 430 series don't have the ability to use airways, so we're going to have to enter each one of these waypoints manually. Sorry about that, had to cough. All right, so here we go. Let's just get it done, right? So first waypoint is Isla. So bring that down. And the other really cool thing, if you guys really want to, actually I'll show you this for entering the waypoints. I'll admit this is actually a lot faster, is with the working title GNS 530, which can be installed from the marketplace or the content manager for free, is that guy. And then just enter. Do that. So that was Isla, Fajar, enter. And TNCM will always be highlighted, so you don't have to worry about double checking every time if you don't want to. As long as you're confident what you're entering, you should be good to go. U.S. Virgin Islands is next. And what do we have next? Next is STT. Then Gyro. Slugo is next. And Gable, which we're going to look at this because we may actually adjust this a little bit, make this a little bit easier. Now, I don't make it easier in the guide. I leave everything that you're seeing in the guide. And our final location here would be PJM, which is the VOR on the approach. There we go. Okay, so now if we go back to our nav, not VNav, I want nav, thank you very much. Thank you very much. There we go. And let's zoom that out. Let's see what we got going on here. Gyro. I wanted to see my whole route. Gabo, Slugo. So what I actually will probably do, try and decide how I want to do this. Do we want to fly direct? Let's look at our approach plate. Give me just a minute here. Let me pull that up in the guide. Yeah, I said it. I want to be at Avaki is where we're going to want to be. That's part of the approach for 1-0. So let's load in the approach. Let's do that first. We'll go ahead and just load that in now. And we're going to do the RNAV today. RNAV for 1-0. And we're going to use Gable as our approach. And then I'm going to go back to my flight plan here. That'll work. What we'll probably do is at Gyro, we'll set direct. Actually, no. We'll leave it as is. We'll follow the guide in. It just makes the descent a little bit faster if we wanted to go direct. But we'll see what we do. We'll just let it ride. Okay, so that is the flight plan entered. We are good to go there. So now it is a matter of continuing our startup procedure. So we've entered in our flight plan. Let's move on to the before start checklist. All right, so getting into the before start checklist, we have remove sunshades is done. Revisors are retracted. Control lock, we need to remove it and stow it, which you just bring it back here. There we go. Yep, otherwise you are holding on to it the entire time. Parking brake, verify it is in fact set. There it is. Electrical switches are off. Standby bus is now turned on, which is already on for us because we just did our flight plan with it. And now let's move upstairs. So we're going to go inertial separator goes to the open position for engine start. Master caution and warning systems, make sure that they are clear. And let's continue moving forward. Cooling switches. We want to make sure that all cooling switches are off. Heating switches are off. No smoking and seatbelt signs can now come to the on position. There we go. And we're now going to step down to the forward instrument panel and we're going to do our EPS test once again. And we want to now go to the armed position. Okay. ECS, environmental control system, we want to make sure is off. Oops, went too far. Ah! Where are you going? Stop it. Okay. The more or manual override lever should be in the off position. Power control lever should be at idle. And condition lever should be at the cutoff position. All right, let's go upstairs once again. Batteries both come to the on position. There's battery 1, battery 2. Nav lights are verified as on. External power as required. Yes, part of the startup procedure, we're going to push that fuel reset one more time just to make sure everything is as expected. Fuel quantity once verified and checked. We're also going to make sure we have 3 green indicating the landing gear handle is truly down and gears are registering as down. And cause the cautionary awareness and warning system we want to make sure is accurate. Essential bus is currently off. Avionics bus are off. Gen 1, Gen 2 are off. Pusher test is not completed. And ECS is in the off position. Cause is appropriate. All right. Now, going on to, once again, verifying master caution warning systems are clear if necessary. Beacon light now comes to the on position. And we are now ready to engage the starter. So, monitoring engine RPM, we're looking for 13%. Ah, there it is, 13. Condition lever. Ah, they broke my condition lever. I hate it when they do that. Ah, get. Oh, you know why? I know why. Ah, I'm using the wrong thing. Those are my flaps. Hey, stop it. Thank you. That was my fault. I just couldn't get the mouse where it needed to be. Okay, let's try that again. So, temperatures, believe it or not, are actually still in the okay position, but we should not see ITT rise higher than 800 degrees for more than 20 seconds, more than 1,000 for 5 seconds. If either of those events occur, you would immediately move the condition lever to the cutoff position. Any master caution or warning systems, you would be cleared at this time. All right, and we have engine coming down to the idle position. Should idle right around 65-ish. Torque should be sitting right around 2%. And NG, again, right around 65. And I'm sorry, ITT should be around 650-ish. All right, there we go. Let's try that again. So now we're going to come upstairs. Gen 1 in this order. Gen 1 and Gen 2 should be activated. Avionics bus can go now. AV1, AV2. Verify that the EPS is in the arm position, but the EPS on light is extinguished. ECS can now go to auto for the environmental control system. And we are now going to set flaps at 15, which is required to complete the stall pusher test. All right, so now let us engage the pusher test. So, pusher on, throttle forward, stick grabbed, throttle back to idle, pusher interrupt, pulling the yoke back to center, pusher off. The pusher test should re-illuminate until you release the disconnect, and now we're clear. Pusher test complete. All right, and the AOA de-ice, that is completely normal. Until weight is off of wheels, I believe. All right, so now we are ready for the before taxi checklist. Remember, clear caution and warnings. All right, so for the before taxi checklist, let the games begin. So let's set our initial altitude target. So we are only going, let's see here, I believe our target today is... we want 10% of our 187 nautical miles, give or take. So we're going to call it 19,000 feet, initial altitude. Let's go ahead and set that to 9,000. So rotate that up. There we go. We'll set our initial climb rate at 1200. Oh, not engage. I want an arm, not engage. Let me make sure that didn't screw that up. It did. All right. There we go. And let's see here. Altimeter is verified at 300. Let's go ahead and set our nav source on the HSI to the GPS. Let's set our initial runway heading here. Which runway heading I believe is 096 degrees. Come on, why aren't you working? There it goes. That was weird. Okay, 096 is set. Comms would be a good time to set this now if you wanted to. We're also going to complete the autopilot test, trim test.
Warning, autopilot trim.
Okay. Cabin pressure, we want to make sure that is set 1,000 feet above our, or excuse me, 500 feet above our cruise altitude. So we're going to 19,000, so we want to set it to 19.5. There's 18,000. That's 19,000 and right about there. All right, cabin pressure is set. Pretty much everything else over here you leave alone. There's no reason to touch it. All right, transponder. You would set it as desired. I'm just going to leave it on VFR for today's flight. Don't really need anything. I'm not using ATC. Fuel quantity, we're going to do a check and reset. Cause is as expected. Flight controls, free and correct. We've armed our vertical speed. We've set our rate at 1,200 feet. And we are set back on the target altitude. That is important. You must make sure that you set it back to what it was. Heading bug set to the runway heading. We'll verify once we line up. And I believe we are now ready to set this going. Let's see here. Last step here. Flight directors. Why my blind eyes can't see it? There we go. Flight directors are on. Electronic trim indicators. We are 1, 2, 3 green. Good to go. Terrain test.
500.
Taxi lights on. And it's now taxi to the hold short line. And it would appear, since we've been sitting here, our wind has changed direction on us, so we're actually going to be taxiing out from, or taking off from the other direction. Why did that never... Oh, no, 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 no. I didn't want to do that. Ah! Get back there. I didn't mean to click that. Didn't mean to, I promise, boss. You don't want to do that yet. We don't do that until right before takeoff, I promise. Terrible situations. Terrible, mate. This is such a cool plane. I love this aircraft. I really do. Whoa, what happened? What happened, boss? And I can't even reset the camera. That's nice. Seriously, Microsoft? Come on, dude. Kill me, Smalls. It will not let me reset that. That's great. Sometimes that crap really pisses me off. Some of the weird bugs. And of course, I'm going to be the one to say it today. I'm going to be that guy. Of course, the sim updated today. So, naturally, because I wanted to do a flight today, I can't imagine what goofy things I'm going to experience here. Alright, so let's line up here for the hold short and let's get ready for our takeoff. Alright, so before taking the runway, we want to make sure that flaps are set at 15. Come on upstairs. Landing lights come to the on position. Wing lights as required, so that would really only be like icing condition or night ops. Strobe lights go on. Recog lights go on. Windshield heats. Left and right windshield heat go to the on position. Probe heaters can now get turned on as well. Transponder, set it to altitude reporting. There's our altitude. And now the condition lever goes. Ah, come on. You big butt throttle. Get out of the way. I have to reset. It's like the third time I will say this, like the third time the LVAR has changed for that. For the condition lever, because I had it set. It was working the last time I flew it. I had it bound to an axis, but that is clearly broken now. So we've taken the runway. We're going to do a bit of a back taxi here. And I probably could have taxied all the way down. It just, with the terrain looking the way it does there, I couldn't decide if that was a taxiway or for golf carts. Alright, so with flaps 15, we're going to increase torque to 44.3% or close-ish. Right around 40% is right where you want to be. Rotation at 80 knots, but continually pulling back on the yoke. We're going to, once we get a positive rate, we're going to make sure that we get that gear up, yaw damper on, climb about 7 degrees. At 400 feet AGL is where we will retract the flaps and continue our climb. Alright, so there we go. Let's go ahead and line up that heading bug once again. There we are. Okay, so, once again, let's see here. Make sure I got everything through. Once we're past 1,000 feet, the inertial separator will be closed. We'll set our climb power to right about 36.9% torque. Again, doesn't have to be right on the money, but we want to be close to it. And verify that heading bug is set to our next waypoint and destination, which we can see is right back over here. So, without further delay and talk on, let's get this beautiful bird out of here. Airspeed alive. 80 knots, rotating. Don't ask me what the luggage cart is doing there. Positive rate, gear coming up. Alright, let's start turning towards our next waypoint. 400 feet, flaps up. Get that yaw damper turned on. Normally we'd be manipulating the heading bug. This is where things get kind of tricky in simulation, of course. At 1,000 feet, I should be able to reach the inertial separator. There she is. Inertial separator is closed. Now we're going to look for 36.9 degrees on the torque for our climb power. Or was it 39.6? Now I have to double check. See, that's why we have the guide. 36.9. I was right. 36.9. Alright, and to save us a little bit of headache here, I'm going to go ahead and engage nav mode and autopilot on. There she goes. She has control. Although it's armed, but not taking hold. GPS. Nope. So we're going to find out what's going on with our autopilot here. We're also going to continue our climb here. Let's take her up to about 15,000. I didn't change any GPS in this thing, so I'm going to be a little annoyed if there's still a bug with autopilots following the GNS 530s, because it shows it's armed, but yet we're not taking over here. Add a little more torque in. There it goes. I wasn't on the nav mode. All right. Well, oh, wait, nope, never mind. Nope, it is broken. There's still that stupid bug, which is funny because this is the only one that is on this damn thing. Come on. Guys, fix this stupid thing. There's a line of code I did a video on a while back that you can actually add to the working title whatchamacallit, configuration file that will fix this issue. But what's funny is that I don't change, nothing changed on the GNS 530, right? So like I didn't swap it out. You can't swap this one out for anything. There's no hot swap, which is my understanding of what caused the bug. But it is clearly screwed up, which is really annoying. That is really frustrating that they haven't fixed that yet. It's kind of stupid. All right, so we are climbing, in fact, and we are climbing at right around 1,200 feet per minute. Torque is set, engine power set, flaps are retracted. All right, let's take a look at everything. That is super freaking frustrating. Super frustrating. Damn. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and kick this guy up a little bit. Let's go to 1,500 feet per minute. And let's check our after takeoff checklist. I wonder if we can try, let's see if this will update. Maybe it will. Let's try the direct button. Oh, hey, there we go. Come on, baby. Yeah, there she goes. There you go. Hey, how about winging a prayer? All right, cool, got her. And hey, that was just in case you guys are wondering, that's an instruction that's in the guide for no other reason than it's just part of the takeoff procedure. It has nothing to do with the aircraft, but it solved our problem. It looks like we're good to go now. That's really weird because nothing changed. GPS 1, GPS. But hey, I am not going to complain. We are on it, man. And nav mode is truly armed and active. F yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. All right, let's go ahead and send her all the way up to cruise. So we're going to go to 19,000 feet here. Beautiful. All right. Very nice. And actually, I just noticed something that needs to be addressed here. I'm going to grab this guy. And you guys are about to watch a live edit to the guide. Because that needs to be added. The target screenshot I have here was incorrect. Oh, wait. I'll just have to hold that for later. Look at the PDF. I don't have the actual editing guide out. Okay. Anyway, yes, and it switched to the next flight waypoint. Beautiful. I'd love to know what that was about, man. That was really weird. All right, so now let's check out the after takeoff checklist. Just make sure we got everything. So landing gear is up. Yaw damper is on. Landing lights, nope. Landing lights get turned off. Taxi light can also get turned off because it's on the nose wheel. Let's see here. Flaps are 0. We did verify that. Ice protection is as required. They are on. And let's see here. Climb power set at 36.9%-ish. Pressurization. Let's make sure we're pressurizing. Cabin is, in fact, pressurizing. Looking good. And now we just need to continue to monitor the engine climb and make sure that our ITT at no point. We do not want the ITT to get to 750 degrees. That's sort of our hard stop at that point. Once it gets 750 degrees, we start pulling some power off. But we can increase our torque. We are running a little low. Increase it to 36.9% or as close to it as we can. But notice as I increase the torque, you can see the ITT already rising. So we'll have to be monitoring that. All right, awesome. And we have cleared 10,000 feet, so now the recog lights can come off as well. And let's just keep watching our temps, and we'll continue our way up to 19,000. Once we get to our cruise altitude, we will be ready to roll with setting our cruise numbers and setting our descent target. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes here. We got a ways to go yet. All right, as we approach our cruise altitude, you can see we're at -7 degrees outside, so I'm going to reference the performance charts in the guide. And we want to be setting our torque for cruise at, let's see here, -7 degrees at 19,000 feet, 29.8 on the torque. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to be close to it. That's good enough for me. I can let that ride. All right, and the last thing that we're going to do right now is we're going to set our VNAV. So we're going to go to our VNAV. We want to be, I believe Avaki is the initial location. So we want to be 2,600 feet. Yep, according to our charts, we want to set 2,600 feet. So there we go. Move forward, go 2. We need to be at 2,600 feet. Oh, damn it. I hate it when I do that. $26. Press enter. Yep, 4 miles is fine. I'm okay with that. And we want to find Avaki. Did the approach not load? I don't think it did. Let's go back. It did not. You son of a gun. Alright, select approach. Enter. RNAV. Enter. And we were using Gable. We want to load. And now we'll go to our VNAV. There it is. Avaki. And our descent profile, we want to descend at 1,200 feet per minute. We're really going to ride the red line, but that's what we're going to do. Oh. Come on. There we go. And there we go. We'll begin our descent in 19 minutes. So, long story short, folks, this is where we're going to hang out for now. You can see everything stable. We're even riding right on our torque line. Aircraft's looking good. I'll see you guys in 19 minutes. Alright, we're getting close to that magical time, so I'm going to go ahead and set our altitude target all the way down to the 2,600 feet that we are going to be looking for. And we're going to descend at 1,200 feet per minute. And we're going to arm it. And so what I like to do, typically, is actually we're going to start right about now. When this reaches about 1,100, 1,000, between 1,000 and 1,100 feet is usually when I'll actually start the descent. So let's go ahead and engage. And of course it did that, so let's go ahead and bring it down. Whoa! That was weird. There she goes. What are you doing? Oh, I know what it did. It reset. You're killing me, Smalls. What are you doing? There we go. 2,600 feet per minute. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we're going to come back to the speedometer here in a second. Or speedometer. Nice. Airspeed indicator. But we're going to come down to our pressurization. We need to start depressurizing the aircraft. So we're going to set this to 500 feet above our destination altitude, which is basically sea level. So we're going to set it to 500. Okay. Then we're going to come back up here, and I'm going to actually increase the torque as long as we stay out of our temp range. We're going to ride the speed limit right on the barber pole until we get to the critical speed. Obviously, we won't pass critical speed. There we go. That's about all I get. So we're just going to let that sit, and as we descend, the ITT should drop. But that is it. Let's check our descent checklist and see where we're at. So, altitude target has been selected. Vertical speed has been engaged. ITT, we are monitoring. Cabin pressure, we have verified, is 500 feet above sea level in this case. Cabin is, in fact, depressurizing. 10,000 feet, we'll turn the recog lights on. And let's see here. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Oh my gosh, I'm a failure. I don't belong in a plane. I never set the altimeter pressure. Well, I mean, we're below 18,000 now. Whoops. Anyways, all right. So that is where we're going to be for right now. As we get closer, we'll set up things like our final approach course, just in case we need it. But with the GPS being our indicator, we're pretty well off. This is a pretty easy approach. The only thing we have to remember as we reach the final or the initial approach fix is that with an RNAV approach, the aircraft will not control its own altitude, so we're going to have to be the ones making sure it's descending accordingly to plan. Accordingly to plan? According to plan. How about according to plan? Let's do that one instead. Anyways, that is about it, guys. So from here on out, we're going to just let the aircraft descend. I'm going to let it ride all the way to Gable until our initial approach fix is the next point. Then we'll activate the approach, but I will bring you guys back on board for that one. So I'll see you guys in just a few minutes. Alright guys, so I didn't count for how much faster I was going than what I normally descend, so I did increase our descent rate to 2,000 feet per minute. We're watching the airspeed indicator, make sure we don't go above critical. We have our recog lights on, landing lights and taxi lights are on in preparation for landing just to make things easier for us, and we're going to go ahead and open the inertial separator now. Remember, as you guys are learning, do things early. This is simulation, you know. Give yourself time to really stay ahead of the game here. Alright, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this over here. And I didn't think about something. This is going to be part of the problem that we're going to fight now. We're going to do direct. And actually, I'm just going to type it in because I don't have time to wait for it. There we go. See what our distance is. About 15 miles. We're at 7,000 feet. We should make it now. All right, good. Good correction. I'm going to go ahead and go to menu. That's not what I wanted. Let's go to procedures. Activate the approach. Whoa, where are you going? Oh, because Gable was the initial approach fix. That makes sense. I know what it's doing. So what we'll do instead is we'll go back to the direct again. Didn't think about that one. Got a little behind the curve there. And re-enter that. There we go. So that was my fault. So before I approached Gable, I should have activated the approach, and I did not. Because I forgot that Gable was our initial approach, or our transition for the approach, and I was too busy focusing on the initial approach fix. So that was my fault. That was totally my fault. All right, and we are getting a bit closer. I'm going to start pulling some power off, get us down to about 200 knots. And let's do the approach checklist. So let's see your heading knob. We will depress that once we're on course. We'll enable the heading mode in just a minute. Let's see here. Recog lights are on. Inertial separator is set. Pressurization is set. And airspeed we are reducing. All right. And let's see. So we're going to want 2600 at Avaki, 1700 at Lessor. Final approach course is 096 degrees as our approach heading. I'm going to go ahead and dial that in now. $1,000 to go for 2600 feet. Right where we want to be. And, oh, let's start slowing this puppy down now. Now we should start seeing the airspeed fall off pretty quick. Looking good. Looking really good. Yeah, man. All right. I'm pretty happy with this so far. All right, and as we're turning final, like I said, I'm going to give myself lots of time. So I'm going to set us down to 1,700 feet and engage. Pulling that power off to get to our 15 or 150 knots. And she's a fast plane, guys. She'll keep cooking if you're not ready for her. Heading bug is aligned. Looking great. Not quite to Lessor yet, so we're just going to hold our altitude once we get there. 150 knots, close enough. Gear coming down. Adding torque back in to maintain airspeed. And once we get to Lessor, I will disengage the autopilot and we'll fly her in and see how bad I suck at this. All right, flaps 15. And close enough. Yaw damper off, autopilot off. Let's take her in. Looking for 80 knots on the approach speed. Below 100 knots, we'll go full flaps. Start trimming it out a bit. There's 100 knots going full flaps. There we go. There's 80 knots. Increasing power to maintain. Way off center line. Let's bring it right a little bit. Too low now. Got a little too low. So I'm going to reduce our descent rate here and just sort of sit for a minute. Watching that airspeed. Slipped right a little bit. Definitely have to compensate a lot for that aileron rudder interlock. Or interlink.
500.
She likes to slip. Alright, there's glide slope. Power off, resume the descent. We're slipping a little bit more, watching that vertical stabilizer. Let's bring it right. A little low again. Aiming point. A little high now. Crossing the threshold, I'm going throttles to idle. This thing will drop speed like a bullet. Little float. Little bounce, not bad. Dance the rudders a little bit. Get her nose on. Alright, I like to bring my flaps up as I'm exiting the runway. Flaps coming up. And there you have it, a beautiful flight into Princess Juliana. Stand by for the replay here of the landing, guys, if you guys are interested in seeing that. As always, folks, stay safe and healthy. I'll see you in the next one. Remember, if you guys are interested in this aircraft, the Simworks Studio PC-12, absolute blast to fly. Take care, folks. I'll see you in the next one.